The peace of God shining in me now. The peace of God shining in me now. The peace of God shining in me now. The peace of God is shining in me now. The peace of God shining in me now. The peace of God shining in me now. The peace of God shining in me. The peace of God shining in me now. The peace of God shining in me now. The peace of God.
Yeah. Hello, welcome everyone to the Friday morning group, Course in Miracles. We're happy to have you here this morning. Welcome live streamers. Thank you for coming online. And yeah. Hi, Sean. We love you. And if you guys want to turn and wave to the live streamers, hello, welcome. Mike is in the house. So they moved us into the sanctuary because they're recarpeting the bookstore. And I am really grateful about that. I've been wanting that bookstore carpeted for 3 years. I know. It finally happened. So, wow. I'm going to share a little bit this morning, and then Lisa's going to come up. I had something that came over me just as soon as I came out of bed this morning that I'm going to share with you. And then I'm going to share just a little bit of my hot tub experience this morning. It was really great. It's definitely G-rated, even though I was in my birthday suit. Nobody's up at that hour. Nobody cares. So, well, when it starts to get spring, I got surprised last year in the spring because I go in and I am in my birthday suit, and I came out when I'm sitting in the hot tub. You know, we're on the river, and behind the river, or on the river, all of a sudden these canoers come down to watch the sunrise, and they just park right out there. I couldn't get out of the hot tub without being totally in front of them in my birthday suit. No, I actually waited for him to go, and then I saw another boat come, and I said, "This is my chance. I better get out." So anyway, that was just my moment in the hot tub. That was one of them. I'm going to share just a little kind of a illustration in the hot tub that I was shown this morning in the hot tub in a minute. But before I do, I would like to ask if anyone would like to open in prayer. Anyone? Come up here, please. Open us up in prayer. Everyone welcome Kelly.
Everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. So let's just breathe in the sparkling, radiant spirit that is us and is among us and connects us all. Spirit, thank you for bringing us together today. We surrender this day to you. We ask that you guide our thoughts, our actions, our perceptions, and our intentions. We ask that you speak your words through us. Help us to hear with your understanding and see with your vision. We ask that you make all of our relationships holy. We thank you for helping us to stay in a consciousness of gratitude, acceptance, forgiveness, and trust in you. We step back and let you lead the way. Please join me if you know this part. I remember that I'm here only to be truly helpful. I'm here to represent him who sent me. I do not have to worry about what to say or what to do because he who sent me will direct me. I am content to be wherever he leads me, knowing he goes there with me. I will be healed as I let him teach me to heal. Blessed be, amen.
Thank you. Amen. You go in prayer and close your eyes, and you open your eyes, and the room is filled up. Welcome everyone that came in. This is a typical unity, I think, a universal way of being. Unity, people that come to Unity churches, the bulk of the church comes in 5 minutes after the service starts. I don't know what that is, but it's good. This morning I woke up. This usually never happens to me, but I woke up, it's about 10 after 5, or a little after 5, and I'm sort of walking down the hall, and this thought came in my mind: no one can serve two masters. No one can serve two masters. And I'm going, where'd that come from? I know where it's from. It's from the New Testament. Jesus said it. And I started getting all of these ideas, these revelations about what that means. And I would like to hear from some of you what that means to you. What does that mean to you? Right. Bonnie said love or fear. Those are the two masters, love or fear. That's perfect. Is there any other description? No one can serve two masters?
Oh, I love knowing that you're either serving one or the other. You can't be in both.
Yes.
You're all in one or you're all in the other.
Yes.
Uncompromising, that is.
Because that thought came in, I was thinking about that passage in the course that says you can't see two worlds. I think it's 130, workbook lesson 130. No one can see two worlds. You're either in one or the other all the time. And I said I was in the hot tub this morning, and I had this sort of other experience of just noticing. So much comes to me from the hot tub. I don't know what it is. It must be the hot water or just the freedom. But ever since I got found the course, I started going in hot tubs. I was in the monastery up in the mountains in Utah with David Hoffmeister's group many years ago, in my first hot tub experience as a course student, and I started getting revelations in the hot tub. It was like it gets here, 20 degrees outside, 2 feet of snow, and you're outside in this hot tub experience. And for me, I don't know if it's the water or just what I experience. It's always a hot tub experience. It seems to bring these revelations. But this morning, I was sitting in the hot tub. There were no canoers out there. It was just me and a squirrel. And the squirrels, to me, they're not always out there. I don't know where they are when it's 4 degrees outside or -5. I don't know where I was wondering last week, because it was too cold to be in the hot tub, and I'm looking out the window going, where are the squirrels and where are the ducks? I don't see any animals outside. I don't know where they go when it's 5 below, but they must have a good warm hiding place. Well, this morning I saw the squirrel. And I paused to watch a squirrel for a minute. If you guys ever watch a squirrel, I think they're masters. I think squirrels are actually masters of being present. Because if you ever watch them, they have this like total like statue stillness, and then all of a sudden they they're gone, and these particular squirrels that I watch, they run up they go up the tree that's 60 feet high. They go to the smallest, tiniest branch, and then they jump to the other tree, to the other small little tiny branch. And I'm watching this squirrel this morning, and those guys gotta be totally trusting and very present. And I was watching the squirrel this morning, and it's like it goes into this still place, and then all of a sudden it just spontaneously scrambles up the tree, gets to the top of the branch, and then this morning it stopped, and it went back down, paused again, and then went jumped over to the other branch that was that big, scurries down, and I'm going, oh my God, that is a master. It knows, it intuitively felt when to pause and to get into stillness before it actually did any of that. And if you watch squirrels, they have this ability of stillness that we can learn from. That was just really a great example of for me, for the pause and the stillness and being present. And then also, I kind of thought it was interesting that it almost made it to the top one time, stopped, turned around, went back down, about 10 feet, and paused again. And then, you've watched squirrels, they just go, and it was just gone up the tree, jumped over to the other side, down like it was nothing. And I started thinking, well, that's a master. That's a master of presence and listening and stillness. Well, when I was thinking about the word that says no one can serve two masters, or the thought that came in, I was thinking, most of us have to find a spiritual path before we realize that we're not people, that we're not persons. And the Course uses that we're not bodies a lot. And more, I'm realizing that if I'm going to be 24/7 in the world and not of the world, and being present, and that's a goal, but it's not really a goal anymore, because I'm beginning to see more and more my experience is transforming slowly but surely. It seems slow, seems like it's a gradual thing, but it's the unlearning that takes time for me to unlearn or unbelieve that I'm a body or I'm a person. And so the two masters in my mind right now in this, what I'm talking about, is, am I spirit or am I the person? We have to come to a place where we only see ourselves as spirit and everyone else. And we actually, the vision changes from the body's eyes that looks out. It no longer sees a person. It only sees presence. And it doesn't use the body's eyes, because the body's eyes convince you that you're looking at a body. So you actually, when you look out, and also with the squirrel, and also with, like, I used to think India must be crazy. They have all these sacred cows everywhere, and they protect animals like they're something special. Well, they are. They're beings. Nothing isn't. Anything that's alive is a being. And the Course tells us that we've been doing this for 1,000,000 years. 1,000,000 years, and it might take that long to get back. We happen to be awake in this lifetime with the ability to see that we're not from here, and to know that we're not persons, that we're not these bodies. But we have to give our undivided desire and attention to the presence, to the spirit, to the being that we are. And that's why, I mean, just think of it. I can't remember. Some of you can have past life memories, past life, somebody, like a past life explanation. Me personally, I don't have any of that stuff, and I actually don't care about it, any of it. Because the only thing I care about is where I am right now. Because I know that in the now, in the presence, is my being. There's no past, there's no future, there's only right now. And this is where the peace of God is. And it can't be found in body identification. If I start telling somebody something about my history, I'm the person. I'm focusing my attention on the person. That's why socializing is kind of almost a skill set when you're ascending in a spiritual way, because you're so conditioned to want to share, well, let me tell you about my kids, and let me tell you about this, and that will come out, but it's not to self-identify. Somehow it just becomes factual. And if we're going to have this experience in releasing ourselves from the person, we have to actually be very uncompromising about it. It has to be, you have to want it. It's the pearl of great price. It's wanting it more than anything. And that may be too hard for some people to swallow. There's a story, I love this illustration. There's a story that, who watches Muji? Anybody in here watch Muji? I want to tell you something. Right now, Muji is in Rishikesh, India, and he's doing free satsangs, 5 days a week from 10 a.m. to about 1 p.m. 3 hours a day. They're free, and they're live around the world on Muji.tv for 30 days. I want to tell you something. If you want to go all the way to the Buddha state of experience, watch those satsangs. You will let go of the person. If that's what you want, if you want to let go of the person identity, you will see the whole way out of the person. Linda? I'm going to give you the mic.
Okay, so I totally understand and get that the being is only to be found in the present moment. And I know we always say there's no process to this, but sometimes it appears to me like certain people need to look at their humanness, their human life, their past or whatever, to remove some, to recognize or become aware of some blocks or fears or whatever. Is that, I mean, it appears to me like that's the first phase of this. And then once you can remove some blocks, it's easier to be. I don't know, do you understand what I'm asking? I don't even know if you can answer it, but I guess for people who are just new, I guess I'm wondering if they kind of, if them looking at their past or whatever, or just some fears or blocks that might be a necessary first step in this seeming process.
Well, I agree. I agree with that you have to look at the past to go through it, to go beyond it. And it's not, there's nothing wrong with actually looking at the past or even talking about your experience. Or, I have children. I talk about my children. I have fond memories of those experiences, and also relationships. It's not that it's a taboo to have the person experience, there's a transcendence that's occurring where we're actually realizing that we're not the person, but we're the observer as spirit of the person, and we're giving back. The mind is a powerful part of us, and the mind thought it was a person, is now recognizing that it's not a person. So the mind is still going to be in play, and the person is still going to have person body experiences, but it's no longer going to be under what the Course calls the tyranny of the mind that thought it was a person. It's now under the intuitive spontaneity and direction of the spirit, where it's only looking at one world. It's only seeing things through the eyes of Christ. It's only seeing with Christ's vision. So it's only seeing through the expression, and it's only listening also through the expression of love. And it wouldn't hurt a brother or itself or a sister. So it's really having, but it does seem to me also that it's gradual until it's not. And then I think it takes the instant. You know, the Course says that enlightenment isn't a change. It's a recognition. It's not so somehow, and I don't know how it works, the change happens and then it never occurred at the same time, and then we're here. But the illustration that I like is one that I've heard Muji teach a couple of times. There's a tree, and the tree has a bird in it. And this bird is building its nest, and it's going and getting this twig, and it's doing this, and it's busy in this tree just doing all the things that a bird does. And there's another bird in the tree that's on another branch, and it's just watching this bird. It's just watching it. And the birds are identical, only one is busy making the nest and doing this and doing that, and the other one is just up on this other branch just watching. Just watching the bird. Doing nothing. The bird that's building the nest is the person. And the one that's just watching is the self. It's the I am. It's watching the person build a nest and do this and do that. And there's something else that's even watching both birds that's not a bird. And that would be the absolute. That would be the Christ. So the bird that's busy building the nest and doing, that's just like us. We're doing this, we're doing that. And that is being watched by Christ's vision. That's being watched by the I am. By the mirror of the bird that's just watching it and doesn't touch it. That's what I mean by not touching. It's just watching. And actually, we're both birds. We're actually both birds, but the one that watches is our true self. And the true self is going to watch the comings and goings of the person. It's going to watch the building of the nest. It's going to watch when the bird goes to work. It's going to watch when the bird has a cup of coffee. It's going to watch when the bird makes love. It's going to watch when the bird is doing all of these things, and it's just going to stay the watcher in this place of awareness, in this place of what I call knowing thyself. And that's, if you look at how many times the word self is mentioned in the Course, it's like 800 times, capital S, self. The Course is really pointing us to just notice that we are the I am. And in that place of awareness, all of these things rise, but they don't pull us to them thinking, oh, we're that other bird. That other bird doesn't know that it is actually the spirit. That other bird thinks it's a bird. And when we think that we're persons, we're going to notice that we think we're persons by the way we act or the way we react. And so these aren't bad things. They're just identifying for us a location. They're helping us to locate where or what we think we are so that we can just notice it and say, oh, wow, look at that bird building that nest. Isn't that interesting? And we don't judge it. We don't make it wrong or right. The bird that's on the upper branch doesn't have any judgment in it. The Course says that Christ's vision has one law. It doesn't look on a bird and think it's a bird. It knows it's a being. It doesn't look on, Christ's vision has one law. It doesn't call it a bird, but it says it has one law. It doesn't look on a body and think it's the Son of God. And so all we have to do in transcendence, first of all, we have to want to know the self, the true absolute self experience above all else. Nothing can be more desirable than that. And that just means that and it's not a sacrifice, it's only a sacrifice to the person. The person thinks, I'm going to lose my identity. And that's true. That's true. The person has to become zero. And I know that sounds very scary for some people, but if the person becomes zero, the Christ experience becomes everything, and you still get to be in time and space and watch what this stupid person does. You know, and the person is going to make mistakes. It's going to make stupid mistakes. It's going to do things that it wish it hadn't done. It's going to judge itself. But the one that's on the higher branch is just watching this and laughing. Just laughing. Oh, look how silly that person is. This is really nothing that is appearing as something important. So, which bird are you? Which? Pardon me? Yeah, right. You're the one watching both birds.
Can you repeat what she said for the streamers?
Okay. What?
Which bird am I? The light.
You are the light.
We all are.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. Good. Right. That would be the one that's watching both birds. That's exactly right. Laura?
That's the way I've always seen like my guides and my angels and everybody that's on my side watching me. They're watching me, and when something's going down, they're like, let's see, here she goes. What's gonna happen right now? And it's almost like sometimes I'll make a joke of it, and I'm like, they're just standing there going, look at her now. Let's see how she handles this one. And that's my light workers beyond that are sent here by Jesus and God, that I've always felt are just standing there going, we love her. Let's see if she's going to hook into us right now, or she's going to hook into their own self. I've always kind of seen myself that way. So when anything goes crazy, it's almost like they're standing there laughing, going, yeah, there she goes. Let's watch and see how she handles this one. It's amazing when I think about all I have above me and around me that is there for me to bring me back to the center of the love of the God, of what I believe to be, everything. And all I have to do is pause for a minute and go, and know, there it is, and there it is, and I can feel it. Thanks.
So who is they? Who's the they that's watching the her? Who is that?
That is my source. That is my everything. The absolute, as you said.
Okay.
Everything that is not of this crazy.
Right. And who is her that they're watching?
This crazy. This thing.
But what is that?
That's just a skin suit. That's the way I kind of look at myself.
So is that you though?
No. It's who I perceive myself at times to be when I look in the mirror. But if I don't look in the mirror, that's not who I am.
But if you're looking at it like, it sounds to me like you're associating yourself as the her that's being watched by the they.
Well, it's like that bird, like you said. Still, I'm the same bird. I'm a bird.
Right.
But it looks like two birds.
Right. Well, the bird that's building the nest is the false self. That's like the nothing. She doesn't actually. She's nothing. Yeah. Rosemary, did you have something?
For me, what I have to come to the realization of is that whole need, when I hear you talk, you just. There's no way I'm going to just right now. That's not, I'm not there. And when I try to go there, and then I start putting all this, like, oh, I can, here you go again. You're not doing it. You're not doing it. You're not doing it. And what I've come to the realization of is it's all in divine time and divine order. I am one and I am all, and that's fine. And I have to do all of it, loving myself, no matter what I do, how I react, what I say, what I look like, any of it. I walked today, I didn't walk yesterday. So what? I love that I walked today. I love that I didn't walk yesterday. If I can't stay in loving myself throughout it all, I go down that black rabbit hole. And it's not pretty, and it's not fun, and it's not safe. It's full of fear. And I just have to stay in love. And to me, that's the only thing that's going to keep me here, keep me present, keep me grounded. And I need to stay grounded in that love.
Yeah, thank you for that. I agree that you have to love. In fact, it's funny that the bird that's on the upper branch, it actually does love that bird that's building the nest. And there's, yes. That's right. Yes. Linda?
I loved learning that, although we find the Course in Miracles at the right time, and we've all probably gotten that, or any other book that wasn't the right time for us. But knowing when it's the right time, we resonate with certain teachers at certain times. Other people don't. We resonate with certain things, and we're drawn to this book that really shifts us into more knowing or whatever. We all have and that of all the teachers that we seek that are really pivotal in helping us move forward, that I am in us has way more answers and way more is the most brilliant thing we can ever rely on. It's that part of us that knew that was the right time for that book, or that this was the right time for that teacher, or that knew that wasn't, that's not for me right now. I'm still going to do a little bit of something else first or whatever. I'm probably not explaining it well, but it's that is the I am of us. That is the truth of us, guiding us every step of the way, which has more brilliance than all the books and the teachers put together.
Yes. Yes, thank you.
It's our divine vibration. It's our oneness to everything. It's the, be still and know that I am God.
Yep.
That brilliance that's done all of that for each one of us, that knows everything.
The description, the illustration of the birds is not to make anyone feel guilty or poorly or separate or like you're not doing enough if you're building a nest. It's not that. It's to allow yourself to have a place to grow to, and to notice that there's this journey has a process, and the process is like if we weren't building a nest, if we weren't in bodies. I mean, the bodies are the answer in my mind to the tiny mad idea where we thought we wanted to be separate from our source. The body actually brought in this mind that is allowing us to have, and even the ego is being used to take us home. So I'm very grateful for the person, and I'm also grateful for the awakening experience, because I am enjoying my life more now than I ever could have imagined in previous years. And it doesn't matter whether the person lives or dies. It has no value to me. I'm just having a great experience in this bodysuit called Bill. And so it is really cool to have these ideas given to us that no longer has this idea that death is like a departure experience. And I don't know, for me, I just love knowing that that the truth can set us free, has set me free, and has set most of you free, if not all of you. I just think that this is the coolest thing since sliced bread. And thank you for listening to me this morning. I'm going to bring Lisa up for the second half, and I love you all.
Good morning. We're in the sanctuary. Good morning. And the sun is bright, right in the middle. I just want to talk about this idea of not serving two masters. And to me, it is love or fear, or person or personality versus presence. And it's always a choice. And this is why I love A Course in Miracles, because it's a mind training. And so often I had heard of people who had a spontaneous awakenings, and I would wish for that. And I would try to make it happen, and it wasn't happening. And I would light candles, and I would meditate and pray and cry and scream and pray more and be good and be kind. And I would try to do all of these things. And I would be jealous of these people who had these death experiences and who had these awakenings. And I would think, why them and not me? And A Course in Miracles gives us all the opportunity in a systematic way to have that direct experience where you know yourself as light and as one. And so I like the discipline part of it. And each one of us here has been given a gift of how you're going to express the message. Like, I love, Monica, what you did with those kids. You know, like she had a workshop on Saturday up in Scarborough, Maine, and I love the trust of going where you're guided to go. Like, you're going to be given these divine ideas to share yourself, and these 4 teenagers showed up, and you were teaching forgiveness. You know, and it's just, and you're a forgiveness teacher too, Kelly. Like, each one of us has a thing. This is what I feel. I mean, it's like we each have all the parts, but I, as a teacher, am more on the joy part. Like, I'm always teaching joy heals and living in that way, because that's my lesson. And I'm also always, because it's like my passion is the discipline part. It's the training your mind in a systematic way. So I always, whenever somebody comes to me who's interested in the Course in Miracles, I'm the one that's going to do the workbook. Get the book and do the workbook. Make the commitment. That's me. And so for me, I like this idea, that you cannot serve two masters. Am I sitting right in front of your face? I feel like I am. But there's a lot of emails coming in right now on the Facebook group for the 40-day. And it's so interesting because I think everyone has this experience. Like when you first have that first initial contact with the light, it's very exciting. You feel this world of possibility for yourself. And there's a quickening in you, for real. Like it's like your whole being begins to change. And quite physically, your structure starts to change. And that's why it's good to have a group. That's why it's good for us to be together. Well, Bonnie was telling me this morning that last night at Elaine's house, Elaine's roommate, Jess, is a psychic, was talking about this group. And she said there's no group like this as yet. That this is a very advanced group and to stay together. That this is the plan of she doesn't know the Course of Miracles either. But there's a plan that's been set in motion by Jesus, or it wasn't even set in motion by Jesus. He was the first in time to see what was happening, and he's bringing it forth, and now we're remembering who we are. And so what happens is you have this first contact with the light, and you feel like, oh, this is it. But then what happens is that the darkness becomes even darker, correct? Everyone's had that experience where you suddenly, you feel everything more deeply than before, so it's not that the darkness is darker than before, it's just that you didn't notice it before, and now you can't stand it. And then you don't really know what to do with it. It's like that, what you were saying, Rosemary. It's like, okay, I know how I should be living. I know the concepts. I have the book. I've done the workbook. But this isn't my experience, and that's why the discipline is important. So what's happening right now is the 40-day has ended. There was so much just excitement and over-the-topness of, I'm the light of the world. And now the messages are, I'm so depressed, I hate everyone and everything, I can't see the light in anyone. And that's a true thing. You feel like this, and to me what it is, and again, I can only express from how it has been for me, and even then I'll be wrong, like how I'll express it. But the way it feels to me, it's like it really is a transformation, and everything that was my structure is now in front of me. And I feel it even more deeply than I did before. And so all my life, I'll use me as the example, I didn't express anger. Like felt, okay, I'm going to be a good girl, I'm going to get A's, I'm going to work hard. That was me. And everyone has their own thing. Well, when the transformation started to happen and the light comes in, that, whatever that was, is come forth now to be released. And so what I like is just to let everything be as it is. Like there's this one woman this morning, I saw a message. She's very angry right now. She did the 40 days, she had these very bright experiences, and now she's in this place of, I'm trying to see the light in everyone, I'm really angry, I'm really depressed, and what I want to do with that is I want each of us to really see what that is, what that thing is that's saying those words and having that experience. Because it's like a child. Like you've seen a child that's trying to get its way. And when the parent is paying attention to the child continues. But if the parent just loves the child, just lets the child do what it wants, I've never seen a child who can continue in that state indefinitely. Has anyone here? Because you cannot sustain, what? It feels like it, but if you're a mother, so you know at a certain point, the child, when it thinks it's not being watched anymore, starts playing happily, quietly by itself, right? Every time. And that's exactly what happens with our emotions and our thoughts. So our emotions and our thoughts are that child. It's needy, it wants, it needs attention. And so if you're just loving where you are in your thoughts and your emotions, but having the discipline to be the master, so the master is yourself. So none of this is outside of us. So you begin to see, okay, in me is the master, the Christ self, and you're also the discipline, the disciple. Like you are the thing becoming. So it's like this, I like what Bill said too, there's this point where there's an integration. So but before that happens, there's the student and the teacher in me. There's the thing that's learning and making mistakes, and then there's the self that's guiding me, that's saying, do this, don't do this, this way's easier, try it this way. This is what Jesus was doing when he was giving the notes to Helen and Bill. Like, I love Jesus because he's, like, I was never of the camp of let's all get in a circle and sing Kumbaya. That's not my style. My style is Jesus, who's very confronting because of his love for us. He doesn't want us to stay in the limitation. So he would say to Helen, I've told you this already several times, but that's the voice in our own head. That's the master. So when you receive instructions, it's not all ego. That's how it organizes in my mind. I'm receiving instructions on a worldly level. Try this way, it'll be easier. But the child that's having the temper tantrum says, I need do nothing. Like, it starts using coarse concepts. And so, but it does. And that's a true statement. I need do nothing, but that's why it's good to come together in a group, because like I had the privilege to be with a group of 250 people at Endeavor Academy with a master teacher, because that's what my mind wanted and needed. And so, and this is why I teach, because I remember what it was like to have someone who could tell me how it worked for them. And so, this is all of us here. Like, each and every one of us in this room is needed to carry this message into all the places you go today. That you carry forth the light that you are. And so, I was thinking about how, I just want to open it up for discussion too, like, how do you shift yourself out of that place? How, when you're in a space, let's just ask, like, who here is experiencing depression or sadness or anger? Yeah. Or just in general, like, if you can remember. So let's without raising hands then. So just think of a moment recently when you've had that, you've experiencing doubt worry, shame, guilt, anger, sadness, fear. Do you have the discipline to see what's happening? And can you shift? And how do you do it into the light that you are?
I like that somebody can, just openly put on Facebook, what they're experiencing right now, because I would have never done that. But I find lately now when I go to those places like that, my go-to phrase is God is my source. And then from you too is blessing. Just bless it. And just keep, I use another phrase that I won't say, but but those two things, and I say it with my food and everything, yeah. So, but those two really help me, and I really try and go to a place that, and I can't say I come out of it right away, but after being with you guys for almost 3 years, I have found that I go to those places, and now when I go, it's almost exciting because I know I'm going to come out better. And I didn't know that before, so I understand, where they are in that fear. But just know, people, you're going to come out better.
Yeah, because that's exactly, for me, the way I get out of it every single time. And I still experience doubt and whatever, it's momentarily. But the way I do it is I shift to giving. It is my go-to every time. It's like, don't seek for love, give love. So whenever I'm having a moment of feeling like I'm stuck, that spirit can't be stagnated, right? I can't be stuck. Who's stuck? So in that moment, I remember the blessings. That's what it is for me. It's like I shift out of thinking about the problem to saying, in the same space that I'm using my thoughts to think about my personality or the other person, I could be sending the light and connecting with them and remembering my oneness. I tell you, I shift out of stuff like that when I do it that way. It's just moving the energy.
I like the phrase you've told us over and over, choose once again. That's what I do.
Yep.
Choose again.
Yep, exactly. And so everyone has the ability to have this kind of discipline, right? That's all this is. And what happens is, and this is what Jesus is teaching, is that this is a transformation. And so even though you may think like I'm not there yet, you actually can see I'm different. I know you perfectly well, and you are there. Always. And you start to see, you slip moments. We all do, who cares? But you don't stay there anymore. You choose again. You say, okay, this is not giving, and you also know if I keep staying in this place, it's going to give me results I don't want. So.
I want to go back briefly to you can't serve two masters, and I want to emphasize the serve, and then look at if I'm the observer, that's one master. The discipline, the person who knows the discipline, who can choose again, the observer. And then there's the person or the self or the ego who, more often than you'd probably like to admit, still goes to anger, judgment, depression, whatever. But now the service is an awareness of there are two parts of me now, and I know about that observer and that person who can choose and who's disciplined. So it's not that those two pieces maybe disappear, but that now I camp out as the observer and the chooser and say, oh, look what I just see. I don't want that anymore. Bye. And just basically dismiss it and choose something else, or just be able to say, oh, I see you. Go away. Sit down.
We I love that, because to me, this is back to the idea of the child having the tantrum, which is every time you're having sadness, depression, doubt, worry, you can think about it like that child. And you're the parent. The master's the parent. The master's the love, the care, the wisdom. And when you let the depression get in the driver's seat and run the car, you're letting the child, the emotion, the thought, be the master. You're giving it that power, and you can suddenly, oh my God, wow. And that's when I love the part in the teacher's manual, in the part about Jesus Christ. It says, Jesus was a man who saw the face of Christ in all his brothers and remembered God. And this is the journey all of us take. And it said, he became completely identified with the Christ. He is what all of you must become. So that's it. You can do that today. You become completely identified with the Christ.
Thanks. I've been obsessed lately with the truth, the more deeply of just there's only one problem and only one solution. So whenever I'm feeling any level of discomfort, I know I just completely forgot who I am. It's always this, no matter what the problem, if it's a hangnail, if it's severe suffering by someone I love, if I'm feeling horrible about it, I forgot who they are, I forgot who I am. There's only one solution, and that's just to remember. So I love the simplicity of that. And I can see it. If I look at a specific problem, I can see if I really knew right in this moment that I was an extension of God's love, a creation, his son or his daughter that's eternal, that's always safe, I wouldn't be worried about this right now at all. So just that's one of my tools anyway.
How long do we have? Okay. Of what? Yeah, we're gonna wrap it up here real quick, and then we'll keep going with questions. And I love that, because that to me is, in this moment, wherever you think you are, your holiness is a solution to every problem, and all you have to do is remember it. So I can still look at my body and say, I'm not there yet. I can still look at my emotional state and say, I'm not there yet. But in the same space, my holiness is what I am. And it's my salvation, and it's the answer to every problem. So the only question now is, can I remember it? Of course. But sometimes the problem is so enticing, it just is, you know, it's just like, I'd rather just stay here for a little bit. And that's great also. Have fun with it. You're not guilty. So anyways, I'm just going to tell the live streamers, I love you guys. Woohoo! You're the light of the world. We love you. Should we just stay for like 15 more minutes and then take the break and just close? Yeah.
I was going to say that, the word shift makes me think that I need to do something. And for me, as soon as I notice or feel that I'm out of alignment, usually I notice it by the way I feel. And then in the noticing, I stay as the noticer. And I usually have to get quiet and pause there just to be in the stillness. And that dissolves all darkness for me, is just staying in the noticing that, oh, I must have stepped into crap. Yeah.
Let's say goodbye now.
Just for me,
The peace of God shining in me now. The peace of God shining in me now. The peace peace of God shining in me now. The peace of God is shining in the peace of God shining in me now. The peace of God shining in me